asked if she spoke French, the First Lady replied, "Très peu." Mary was like a toothache, Lincoln's law partner once remarked, keeping her husband awake night and day to political opportunities. When it came to foreign affairs, however, Lincoln had become his own man. The Illinoisan had been telling friends for years that he wanted to visit Britain, the land of his forebears and his favorite writers, Shakespeare, Byron, and Burns. As the Civil War erupted and intensified, the president repeatedly underlined the conflict's global importance, arguing that the central idea behind the Union effort was to prove to the world that popular government is not an absurdity. He had long since come to terms with America's rise to power. "We are a great empire," he told a Michigan crowd as early as 1856. "We stand at once the wonder and admiration of the whole world." Now America's army had grown to the largest on the planet, and its massive new navy threatened the continent's outdated fleets. Hyperventilating European newspaper correspondents worried that the American president might send a fleet of gunboats sailing up the Seine, or his million-man army marching through Hyde Park. At the start of the Civil War, cartoons in Britain's popular Punch magazine had portrayed Lincoln as a silly-faced buffoon. By the end, the magazine's depictions of the American president bore the stamp of despotic ferocity. As Lincoln sat in the dark of the theater, his ambitious wife gripping his hand, the night's entertainment must have seemed somehow appropriate. The play, a light-hearted tale of an American trying to collect his inheritance in Europe, had the audience in hysterics. And then, in an instant, the laughter ended and the screaming began. Mary Lincoln saw the sickening flash accompanied by the report of a pistol. She felt a body dash past, brushing against her shawl, and watched her husband's head slump onto his chest. In another moment, a distant voice cried out, "Thus ever to tyrants," in a foreign tongue from ages past. Abraham Lincoln is not often remembered as a great foreign policy president. He had never traveled overseas and had no personal friends in Europe. His upbringing in rural Kentucky and Indiana was so provincial that, when a stranger came to town who could speak a few words of Latin, he was looked upon as a wizard. As a rising politician, he had studied just enough German to charm immigrant voters. As for French, the 19th century language of diplomacy, he did not understand enough to read a menu. "Hold on there," the rail splitter once told a waiter in a New York French restaurant. "Beans. I know beans." The Illinoisan's only pre-presidential brush with the diplomatic service came in 1841, when a friend tried to get him appointed chargé d'affaires in Colombia. Lincoln had been struggling with a bout of depression. He had gone crazy as a loon, one acquaintance recalled, and his allies thought a change of scenery would do him good. The Secretary of State, Daniel Webster, not surprisingly passed him over. In the White House, Lincoln's attempts at diplomatic finesse could seem comically inept. His efforts to bow elegantly to visiting diplomats were so prodigiously violent that they had almost the effect of a smack in their rapidity and abruptness. On one occasion, receiving a delegation of Potawatomi Indians, Lincoln greeted his guests in broken English. "Where live now?" he asked, as his aides chortled. "When go back Iowa?" Foreign envoys accustomed to the refined rituals of European chancelleries were repelled. "His conversation consists of vulgar anecdotes at which he himself laughs uproariously," the Dutch minister complained. Even Lincoln's young son Tad noted that his father looked pretty plain compared to the European diplomats at one state dinner, who were